Point 5. Mandatory rules, permissive rules, and explanatory material. A mandatory rules. Mandatory rule of this code is those that identify actions that are required or prohibited and are characterized by the use of terms shall or shall not. The permissive rules. Permissive rules of this code are those that identify actions that are allowed but not required, are normally used to describe options or alternative methods, and are characterized by the use of the terms shall be permitted or shall not be required. See explanatory material. Explanatory material, such as references to standards, references to related sections or this code, or information related to a code rule, is included in this code in the form of informational notes or an informative annex. Unless the standard reference includes a date, the reference is to be considered as the latest edition of the standard. Such notes are informational only and are not enforceable as requirements of this code. Brackets containing section references to NFPA document are for informational purpose only and are provided as a guide to indicate the source of the extracted text. These bracketed references immediately follow the extracted text. Informational note: the format and language used in this code follow guidelines established by NFPA and published in the NEC style manual. Copies of this manual can be obtained from NFPA. The informative annexes. Non-mandatory information relative to the use of the NEC is provided in informative annexes. Informative annexes are not part of the enforceable requirements of the NEC, but are included for information purpose only. The authority having jurisdiction for enforcement of the code. 90.4 Enforcement. Application. This code is to be suitable for mandatory applications by governmental bodies that exercise legal jurisdiction over electrical installations, including signaling and communication systems, and for use by insurance inspectors. The interpretations. The authority having jurisdiction for enforcement of the code has the responsibility for making interpretations of the rules, for deciding on the approval of equipment and materials, and for granting the special permission contemplated in a number of the rules. See specific requirements and alternative methods. By special permission, the authority having jurisdiction may waive specific requirements in this code or permit alternative methods where it is assured that equivalent objectives can be achieved by establishing and maintaining effective safety. D. New products, constructions, or materials. This code may require new products, constructions, or materials that may not yet be available at the time the code is adopted. In such event, the authority having jurisdiction may permit the use of the most recent previous edition of this code by the jurisdiction. Informational note. See Informative Annex H, Administration and Enforcement for a model of guidelines that can be used to create an electrical inspection and enforcement program and to adopt NFPA 70, National Electrical Code. The purpose and adequacy of the NEC. 90.2 Use and application. A practical safeguarding. The purpose of this code is the practical safeguarding of persons and property from hazards arising from the use of electricity. This code is not intended as a design specification or an instruction manual for untrained persons. The adequacy. This code contains provisions that are considered necessary for safety. Compliance therewith and proper maintenance result in an installation that is essentially free from hazard but not necessarily efficient, convenient, or adequate for good service or future expansion of electrical use. Informational note. Hazards often occur because of overloading of wiring systems by methods or usage not in conformity with this code. This occurs because initial wiring did not provide for and reasonable provisions for system changes provide for future increases in the use of electricity. Use and application. See installations cover. This code covers the installation and removal of electrical conductors, equipment, and raceway, signaling and communications conductors, equipment, and raceways, and optical fiber cables for the following. 1. Public and private premises, including buildings, structures, mobile homes, recreational vehicles, and floating buildings. 2. Yards, lots, parking lots, carnivals, and industrial substations. 3. Installations of conductors and equipment that connect to supply of electricity. 4. Installations used by the electric utility, such as office buildings, warehouses, garages, machine shops, and recreational buildings that are not an integral part of a generating plant, substation, or control center. 5. Installations supplying shore power to ships and watercraft and marinas and boatyards, including monitoring of leakage current. 6. Installation used to export electric power from vehicles to premises wiring or for bidirectional current flow. 90.2 Use and application. The installations not covered. This code does not cover the following. 1. Installations in ships, watercraft other than floating buildings, railway rolling stock, aircraft, or automotive vehicles other than mobile homes and recreational vehicles. Informational note. Although the scope of this code indicates that the code does not cover installations in ships, portions of this code are incorporated by reference into Title 46, Code of Federal Regulations, Part 110.113. 2. Installations underground in mines and self-propelled mobile surface mining machinery and its attendant electrical trailing cable. 3. Installations of railways for generation, transformation, transmission, energy storage, or distribution of power used exclusively for operation of rolling stock or installations used exclusively for signaling and communications purpose. 4. Installations of communications equipment under the exclusive control of communications utilities located outdoors or in building spaces used exclusively for such installations. 5. Installations under the exclusive control of an electric utility where such installations A. Consist of service drops or service laterals and associated metering. B. Are on property owned or leased by the electric utility for the purpose of communications, metering, generation, control, transformation, transmission, energy storage, or distribution of electric energy. C. Are located in legally established easements or rights of way. D. Are located by other written agreements either designated by or recognized by Public Service Commission, utility commissions, or other regulatory agencies having jurisdiction for such installations. These written agreements shall be limited to installations for the purpose of communications, metering, generation, control, transformation, transmission, energy storage, or distribution of electric energy where legally established easements or rights of way cannot be obtained. These installations shall be limited to federal lands, Native American reservations through the U.S. Department of the Interior Bureau of Indian Affairs, military bases, land controlled by port authorities and state agencies and departments, and lands owned by railroads. Informational note to 4 and 5. Examples of utilities may include those entities that are typically designed or recognized by governmental law or regulation by public service/utility commissions and that install, operate, and maintain electric supplies such as generation, transmission, or distribution systems or communication systems such as telephone, CAT-TV, internet, satellite, or data services. Utilities may be subject to compliance with codes and standards covering their regulated activities as adopted under governmental law or regulation. Additional information can be found through consultation with the appropriate governmental bodies, such as state regulatory commissions, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, and the Federal Communications Commission.